As kids head back to school, the danger of social media goes up. While they're not supposed to be on their phones in school, kids spend and send more on social sites, and sometimes this can be dangerous. Here to explain more is Associate Professor at USF, Kelli Burns. So welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me.
I know, so you're coming to us as an expert in social media and also a parent.
Yes,
yes. So you know what we're talking about. This is such a big deal for parents, and as we start school, is that the case that kind of social media tends to go up?
Definitely. We're seeing a lot of people, maybe a lot of young people using social media for the first time as they enter high school, for example, or maybe getting their first phone. And they're maybe at a new school, they're making new friends, they want to make those connections on social media. So we're seeing definitely an increase in social media usage as kids go back to school and make new friends and are involved in new activities. Yeah. A lot of schools have the social media bans or the cell phone bans now, so that is something for parents to be aware of, that maybe their child cannot use their phone all day. So if you're younger than high school, your phone's in your backpack all day turned off. High school, the rules are a little bit looser, but schools don't want students using them in class.
Yeah, I know a lot of schools have adopted that policy, and what I find interesting is parents are just as angry as the kids. Like, I can't believe the school's doing that, where I think maybe be more supportive of this policy and, let your kids be off social media for 8 hours.
Right. Parents are a little bit worried about not being able to be in touch with their children all day at all times.
It's okay.
And so it is okay, and they will be fine, and just let them try to focus on learning and not looking at their phones all day.
Yeah. What would you say is one of the biggest dangers when it comes to social media?
There's a lot of dangers around social media. The biggest one, I'd say, is your safety. There are online predators out there that can contact young people through social media sites. They're also exposed to a lot of behaviors you might not want your young person to be aware of and to see constantly in their feed. The algorithm's just going to deliver. If you search for healthy eating, it might show you, some problematic eating behaviors. So that's a big issue. Health and mental health, especially as we think about going back to school. Is your child getting enough sleep? Are they being able to stay focused on their schoolwork? Are they exercising? Are they able to make friendships outside of the phone? And then also their mental health goes along with that as well. Are they feeling anxious and depressed because of the content that they're seeing or the interactions maybe that they're having on social media? So there's definitely a lot of downsides to that, and you really have to be tuned into your kid, their emotions, talk to them about what they're seeing online, and help them try to navigate social media.
I know it can be so overwhelming for parents that I know sometimes you just kind of give up. So what would you say the best thing to do is? Just to talk to your kid about it? Like we were talking earlier, you wouldn't just put your kid on the bus and say, go out into the world. You would, talk to them about what's happening. So
I would say number one thing is to try to hold off as long as possible on social media with your children. Definitely if you can hold off till high school, that's a great, time. But sometimes it's very difficult. There is a little bit of an advantage to your child starting a little bit earlier, because you can have a little bit more say, you can monitor a little closer, you can teach them a little bit more rather than waiting too long and then they go full, you don't
want to wait till they go off to college
and then they know nothing. So you can teach them and hold their hand a little bit. So I think you need to talk to them about the risks. How would you handle this if a stranger friended you? How would you handle if somebody asked you for photos? That they are prepared for those risks, and talk to them about what they're seeing on social media. What kinds of interactions are they seeing? What kinds of TikTok challenges are they seeing? Going back to the safety concerns, are they seeing challenges on there becoming popular that could be dangerous to them? There's one that, kicking in the door challenge, where they go up to door and they kick people's doors. Right. And so these are very dangerous things that that young people are exposed to, and we want to try to protect them as much as possible. So having those conversations can help. Modeling great behavior as a parent as well.
Yes, don't be on it too much yourself. Okay, we have to talk about AI, because we were just talking about something that I didn't really think about when it comes to AI, but kids seem to be asking AI everything these days, almost too much.
There's a lot of AI built into our social media platforms, and there's also a lot of other platforms out there that young people are using to have an AI companion. So they can ask this person, just like a best friend, what should I wear today? Should I break up with my boyfriend? What should I do about this problem I'm having with my parents? And so these AI companions are giving young people advice, and it's not a person.
Yeah.
That's not a trusted adult. That's not a friend that you really know.
Yeah.
And so what are they telling our young people to do? And we're just turning constantly to to the point where we can't even think for ourselves.
Right.
And
That's the big thing.
To ask AI everything.
Yeah, that
every
they
part of
can't
our
think
lives.
for themselves.
Right,
They can't.
right.
They're not going to make any big decision without checking AI first. So
Right,
again, this
right,
is all just kind of having the conversation. Are there any apps or anything that can help a parent kind of monitor what their kid is doing?
Yeah, there are some tools out there that you can purchase. They are tricky, and young people
Yeah.
are very
They're
smart.
savvy.
They're
They can-
smart, and they
yeah.
can really outsmart you. Whatever
Right.
controls you put on their phone, they can probably figure out a workaround. So be aware of that. But it might be good to start with something like that for a younger 13, 14, 15-year-old possibly.
Right.
But all the social media platforms and even your phone have a lot of parental controls. So
Okay.
definitely look at things like screen time on the phone. Definitely look at the battery use of your child to see where they're spending their time, because you can
Nice.
see
Yes.
what apps are sucking their battery power.
Yeah.
So look at your phone and look at the parental controls that you can use there, and then look at the social media apps, because even though they're not perfect, they are trying.
Yes.
And there are some parental controls that you can use for through those apps.
Yeah, and maybe if your child knows that you're monitoring it and that you're aware of it, that
Right,
they'll be,
right.
they won't want to go on sites that they're not supposed
It's
to.
definitely important to have those conversations, have the conversations about the content that they're posting online, because that can definitely come back to haunt them. It's helpful to think, what would you think if
Yeah.
your grandma saw
Right,
this post?
I use that all the time. I'm like, don't type anything that you wouldn't want your grandmother to see.
Right.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. Quick recommendation on ages. You said hold off as much as you can.
Hold off as much as you can.
Yeah.
You do not have to give your child an iPhone, the latest
Right.
version of the iPhone when
Yeah.
they turn 13. You can hold off as long as you can, but there's flip phones, there's other
Right.
alternatives for young people to be more safe, but you still can stay in contact with your child.
Yes.
You still know that they have a phone in case they need to call you.
Yes, it
So
doesn't have
hold
to have
off as
all the
long as
apps
you
and all
can.
that.
Right,
Perfect.
right, exactly.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Such helpful
you.
information.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.